All right, guys, SombraDelPiso back once again. Guys, if we're having an issue with semen retention or staying on our practices of sexual discipline, no FAP, no goon, or whatever it's called right now, as we're living in these economies, these listed economies, the United States, Western Europe, Canada, and Australia, I'm telling you that you have a lot of work to do on yourselves, because we need to have already mastered semen retention living in these economies right now. This is 2025. There's a lot of evidence of why indulging in adult film content is horrible for you, mentally, spiritually, physically as well. I'm gonna get into all of those reasons right now, right? Like, comment, subscribe. SombraDelPiso here in Brooklyn, New York. Unfortunately, we are in the United States, the worst place in the planet. It's good for making money, but it's not the best place for a lot of things. I've seen how it is in Western Europe. I understand the parallels to those societies, like here. If you guys are in these various economies and having issues with semen retention, then we have to pick up the pace, and we have to get better as soon as possible. Let me tell you guys one main reason why we need to have mastered semen retention in these economies. The first reason is going to be the quality of women in the United States. We're not supposed to be having an issue with semen retention, because we're not supposed to, as cultivated, spiritually cultivated, mentally and physically cultivated men, we're not supposed to be chasing the type of women that are prevalent in these economies. SombraDelPiso, what kind of women are you talking about? Who are they? What do they do? What are their characteristics? I'm gonna tell you guys that right now. In recent years, if you guys are statistics focused, empirical data polarized, you would know that women have started to make, in a lot of the urban cities in the United States and in general, they have started to make more money than men. With that in the case, money, you know, that gives you access to everything. You can travel with money, you can command people with money, you can do whatever you like with money. Your purchasing power literally will increase the more money you have. And so in women, there's a quality, a part of their nature that's called hypergamy. We've been hearing this all over the internet on a lot of red pill channels and a lot of men's health channels that talks about this quality in women. And what that is, for the people that don't know or hasn't heard it from the inundated, oversaturated field of men's health on the internet, is that hypergamy lends to women choosing mates or sexual mates that are doing better than they are. And in this world, it's not necessarily how it was once upon a time, where they choose physically hurly-burly men that can protect them. No, they choose, more often than not, men with dad bods, right, that don't take care of themselves. They have paunches, they have varicose veins, only because they have access to a lot of finances. And that's been the case for a while, right? Just just the reasoning behind women's choosing of a sexual partner. If women are making a lot more money than men, that means that the amount of men that will be the apple of her eye are reducing. That pool is reducing smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And so women are basically, the majority of women, which outnumber us men, are only going to be going after very, very few men that are going to not commit and be playing around with them. This is the quality of the women that you're gonna get across in the United States, in Western Europe, right? In addition to that, I have the facts here on my goddamn cellular, right? Women's Health government website in regard to weight and obesity. You guys hear it all the time on my live streams. And more than 2 in 3 women in the United States have overweight or obesity. I can't tell you, I'm walking around New York. New York is supposed to be one of the most fittest cities, because not a lot of people have cars, but we also have a stellar public transportation with buses, with trains, and a lot of the places in the city are walkable. We have bike paths set up all around the city to encourage much more bike usage, public transportation. And so I'm still walking around New York, and there's still a lot of women that are overweight and obese. Is actually insane. Of all races, all backgrounds. What the heck is going on? So I'm saying, with these 2 qualities, of course, the first one, economic independence, is always a good thing. I think that everyone should try to aim for economic independence and strength, and sovereignty, because no one wants to be under the thumb of some tyrannical individual that understands that they could control you because they have money and you don't. But With that mindset in women, not only the hypergamy in them will have you be overlooked over and over and over again as a normal man, right? That's an average man, which makes up the majority of men. But also, women are very, very proud of their financial independence to the point where they are constantly broadcasting it from the rooftops. Oh, I make my money. I'm an independent woman. I don't need anyone to help me out. I don't need anyone in my life. I could be single for the rest of my life because men are completely difficult and I have money. I can do whatever the hell I want. And so this type of personality is prevalent in the United States. It's prevalent in Western Europe. And trying to go after these types of women as you are mentally cultivated, right, reading the right type of material, good philosophies, Aristotle, Sophocles, Plato, Dante Alighieri, so on and so forth. Spiritually cultivated, you're reading the likes of Hermes, getting connected with Siddhartha, understanding the Pali Canon, which connected to Siddhartha to some degree, the Bhagavad Gita, the Mahabharata, the Holy Bible, and you're getting physically cultivated, going into the gym, doing some deadlifts, 315 pounds minimum, 4 reps, right, at least for 3 sets. Doing some squats, 315 minimum, come on, well 225 minimum, that's actually pretty good. And doing some bench presses, doing some cardio, doing some calisthenics. When you are cultivated in those, that trinity, what is that word? The trifecta, right, of ways that one could present their value in this physical dimension. Why are you chasing a woman that is very, very proud of being emotionally and financially independent and she's most likely overweight? Please, somebody has to explain that to me. Maybe I'm gonna come off as shallow, but I'm telling you, that's just something you do not want in your midst. I'm telling you for a fact. I have a story, guys, about my dealings with a woman that was overweight. I was down bad. Because, I was here in the United States for a very long time. I was in New York. I wasn't insecure, but I really didn't have the most faith in myself. I was confident, but, every now and then, you just want that intimacy. Seriously, and this is when I was a lot more uncontrolled sexually. And so I met this girl, very, very pretty face. She was short. I think she was Mexican Indian, long hair. The thing is, she weighed like 250 pounds, dead serious. She told me this. SombraDelPiso me, I still went forward with it. We went out, we had a good time. It was good conversation, obviously. And then that same afternoon, that same evening, because it was evening, I brought her back to my house and we just got into it, right? That primordial act that is an exchange of emotion, metaphysical energy, and of course, primarily and physically, reproductive fluid, right? I was using protection. But anyway, I was in there and it was just so uncomfortable. I'm gonna be honest. Like when the positions were switched, she was very, very heavy, and it was just very, very uncomfortable. I could feel the legs under my bed creaking and making a lot of noise. If it was sentient and it had a spirit, I would hear it whine. It was finished, a couple minutes later, she went to go to the bathroom and I just saw all this hanging weight moving around her as she left my habitación and was on the way to the bathroom. After that, I said to myself, I am never going to settle for something like that ever again. I swear to everything. And so guys, you might be in a drought, you guys might be down bad, maybe not having a pick of the litter of the women that you would like to court, but I'm telling you, that's just not the choice to go to. You validate that type of behavior in women, they're going to continue that behavior, and then when you come to your senses, as we naturally do, as men, eventually, as time passes, and you try to plead your point, you try to argue, or not really argue, you try to debate as to why you need to lose weight, she is not going to lose weight. She's going to stay and remain in her state. Overweight, obese. And you have no choice. You have to settle for it because that's how you chose her. That's how you found her. I'm telling you guys, when you have mastered that trifecta, when you have mastered I'm trying to find the word. I keep forgetting. When you have mastered that trifecta of male improvement, spiritual, mental, and physical health development, first of all, the discipline has to be set in to hold, that sexual discipline needs to be set in to hold out for something greater. That's the whole idea of even implementing the practice of semen retention in your lives in the first place. Delayed gratification for consistent reward in your lives, all over your life. The reward of understanding, the reward of getting a better job, understanding entrepreneurship. Maybe that's an inclination for you. The idea is to hold out for long-term gratification. So there's the two reasons we have, there's two reasons already listed as to why being on semen retention in the United States should not be difficult whatsoever, right? We named hypergamy in women the newfound independence, financial independence of women, and so they're broadcasting it from the mountaintops, and so telling us all that they don't need us. Then they have the second reason, which is most women in the United States are overweight. And so we shouldn't be chasing those types of women in the first place. Number 3, you guys need to consider travel. If you guys have not traveled, you guys have to consider travel as soon as possible. I am not talking about Western Europe. The reason why I showed off my shirt is because this is a shirt from Romania, Bucharest. I'm gonna tell you another story, gentlemen, right? So I went to Bucharest, which is the capital of Romania. Wonderful place. It's all the way in the eastern part of Eastern Europe. It's close to the Balkans, the Baltics, sorry. You know, Moldova, Latvia, and Estonia, and Lithuania, I believe. And so I had a very, very good time. I went to this place called Therma, which is this bathhouse. Very, very cool bathhouse. It's the biggest bathhouse in Eastern Europe, by the way. Very beautiful, has various saunas. The staff, most of the staff were female. They were incredibly beautiful as well. That's gonna tie into the story, right? So I was in Therma. I was taking some pictures of myself, doing some selfies. And so I wanted like a full body picture because, you know, I did gym earlier that day. SombraDelPiso did 50 pull-ups, right? Weighted pull-ups, by the way. We also did deadlifts, 405. I went in. So I just wanted someone to capture, I wanted my physique to be captured on camera, especially, you know, with the backdrop being Therma and everything. There was this woman that walked by, incredibly, incredibly beautiful. Blue eyes, long brown hair, svelte, right? Not overweight, nails done. And she just seemed like she had like this softness about her. She didn't seem like very argumentative. She didn't seem very angry at all. I ended up asking her to take my picture. She was like, of course, yeah, not a problem. Where are you from? Are you from America? Oh, I was like, oh yeah, obviously. We had the good conversation, whole conversation. Long story short, I gleaned the fact that she has 2 master's degrees. She has a bachelor's degree, naturally. She has her own yoga studio business in Romania, actually helped out by this angel investor that came in her life the moment that she needed him or her. And she was single, right, which is very, very, very interesting. And she was only single because I think she was trying to cultivate her work, her yoga studio business. And so what I noticed when I was speaking with her, not only like the aforementioned physical traits, that she was very soft, svelte, beautiful, she was fit, she went to the gym a lot, but she wasn't, even though she was very, very financially independent, she wasn't angry like the women in the United States or Western Europe. She was very calm. She was very cool, collected, and very interested in getting to know me. She was very helpful with trying to teach me Romanian. I only know a little bit right now. Bună ziua, ce mai faci, domnule, mulțumesc. I don't remember a lot because I was only in there for 3 days and I was still trying to remember. I was in Serbia mostly and I was trying to remember most of the Serbian. So I didn't want to get the wires crossed in regard to language acquisition, right? Language learning. But that's one story, and that was prevalent. That type of situation was prevalent all over Eastern Europe when I was traveling in Eastern Europe. I also went to La Ciudad de Mexico. I met many women around La Ciudad de Mexico as well. They were educated. They were very nice as well, beautiful, not overweight. Even though there is an overweight problem in Mexico, some of the women that I met were not overweight, right? They were very kind. They went to the gym. They were very interested in physical fitness. And so we had very, very good times. We had drinks. I didn't drink, I drank sparkling water, as you know. I've been sober for 12 years. But we had very, very good times, very good conversations. And this is just the natural situation that you're going to fall and come across when you are traveling. And this is why semen retention should not be an issue, especially if you guys are in the United States and Western Europe, because your guys' eyes and minds should always be on the sparrow. That proverbial sparrow should represent travel, the potential of experiences, interpersonal and intimate relationships that you will find when you travel and when you seek to live abroad. And I'm not talking about, like I said, in Western Europe, Australia, Canada, the United States, any of those places. You have to go to places in South America. Southeast Asia is another good part. Asia is a good spot for dating. There's a cool YouTuber that's been living in China for a couple of years, teaches English, and he's been having a very, very good experience dating in Asia. All right? You ultimately want to go to a place where you are appreciated, and not necessarily appreciated, because we're not looking for affirmations as to why we are who we are or why we do what we do, but we're looking for reciprocation, right? We're looking for people where we brought our best. We've done the trifecta of male improvement, spiritual, mental, and physical. And so we are meeting someone in an environment where the percentage of women that are like that, or the percentage of people as well, because you want to have people in your friend groups that are thinking on the same level as you, that are seeking to be on your level as well, or seeking to improve as well. You will go to these places and other places in the world where the percentage of those types of people are higher than it is in the aforementioned garbage Western areas. The United States, Western Europe, Canada, and Australia. And so, guys, I know that maybe a lot of people would say, how do you know these things if you never traveled? I went to Canada. I've traveled in Australia, right? I went to Sydney. I went to, to multiple places in the United States and Western Europe. I went to Paris. Well, I went all over France. I did Paris, Lyon, Genève, Bordeaux, Saint-Tropez. I went all over France. I did Germany. Germany is actually a hidden gem. I think Germany is a little different, but I'm gonna come back to that on a different video. I did Switzerland. I did Spain. I did a couple parts of Spain. Portugal. I went around the south of Portugal. I did also England. I lived in England for a year. So I know exactly what I'm talking about in regards to the types of experiences that you're gonna have in Western Europe and their parallels to the experiences that you'll have in the United States. And I'm telling you, they're both basura, they're both garbage. Gentlemen, what I'm trying to tell you right now, Some Nation, final statements, is that we're not supposed to have an issue with sexual discipline in these aforementioned places, not at all. Like I told you, the aforementioned reasons, the quality of women in the United States and Western Europe are really not it. I'm telling you, they're not interested in knowing other languages, they're not interested in losing weight, and they're very, very interested in hallowing their newfound economic independence. And I don't think as a man that you should try to seek contention, especially just to stave off a couple feelings of loneliness that can be solved with a trip overseas to Eastern Europe or Latin America or Southeast Asia. I'm telling you this right now. I'm telling you, I've done it. I've made the trip, I've made the cross, and I've seen that the interactions in general, not just in a intimate relationship standpoint, but an interpersonal relationship standpoint, it is completely better. It is night and day to what you are going to receive here in the United States. I'm sorry, I'm going to give you guys another experience, guys. I'm sorry, because I'm so full of them. I used to live in England, right? And so when there was this time I dated this girl from Scotland in England. Like I said, England is also very, very cooked. The UK, I feel very, very bad for the men that are living in the UK, because dating there is just as washed as it is in the United States. I'm gonna tell you something. I went on a date with this girl from Scotland in the UK. We went to a pub, right? I was interested in her taking me somewhere else because she lived in Croydon. I'd never been to Croydon at that point in time. So I was just interested in where she was gonna take me. Not only this woman her mouth was incendiary. I've never met a woman that cursed so much. That's number one. Two, we are 30 minutes in the goddamn date and she already drank 2 pints of beer. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Why does she drink so much? And she got very, very, like, I like the whole like handsy thing. I like when women use their hands. I like that, that's very nice. It's nice to play fight. But she was a little over the top. She was slurring her words. And it's just like her breath, just the smell, everything. I was just unattracted completely. And this is a prevalent thing, by the way, in the United Kingdom, because a lot of women like to drink over there. A lot of people like to drink over there. And so it's just, I'm telling you guys, we already, remember, we're at a point in time, we already know about the studies of alcohol. We're not even supposed to be drinking at all whatsoever. If we're still drinking in 2025, I'm telling you, there must be, your wires are a little crossed. I just don't get it. There's a lot of studies that talk about how toxic alcohol is. You can automatically deduce alcohol is a poison. Why are you putting it in your system if you want to sustain health and have a healthy pH balance? But anyway, that's for a topic for another video. Men, stay on semen retention and understand how important it is to stave off adult film content that's supposed to be already mastered. We're not supposed to be really trying to mix with any women in the United States because of the aforementioned reasons in this video. And we're supposed to try to get a little bit more powerful, right, in general, and seek greener pastures overseas. And with that being said, that is all I have to say today, guys. If you guys enjoy that kind of content, like, comment, subscribe, share the video with your peers. Listen, don't ever let this place get you down. I'm telling you guys, it's cooked in the Western world. We've had a lot of initiatives are slowly coming into play, more and more year after year, that are not supporting men and actually bastardizing men. Our food supply is absolutely cooked. There are microplastics everywhere, and seed oils have been destroying our testosterone levels for decades, right? And this is only gonna get worse. Guys, we need to go to where we are not only just appreciated, but understood and accepted. We gotta go overseas. We have to get out of our Western cultures. We need to, and to do that and to try to establish that tunnel to be able to get into that type of lifestyle, we need to be on semen retention. We need to stay on the practices of our sexual discipline and leave a lot of the women in the United States alone. I'm telling you, leave adult film content alone. Please, I'm telling you this right now. And stay radiant. I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Woo!